Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Yeshemai from the JMS Atlanta camp. Before I get into this message, I want to start off by giving all praises, all glory, and all honor to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Kakadash. And I want to send double honor to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone who will teach well. This is going to be hopefully an edifying and somewhat short message going into, again, the Israelite foreigners. Um, and we're going to go ahead and start it at Matthew 22, all right? So it says, and Yahushua answered and spake unto them again by parables and said, so again, this is a parable, right? And I want to bring in a memory that earlier in the book of Matthew, when his disciples asked him, why do you speak in parables? Yahushua said he spoke in parables because it wasn't meant for everyone to get it. He said, so to you it's given to know of the kingdom of heaven, and to them it's not given. So this is Yahushua speaking in parables, and hopefully those that are listening in, they can receive this message. And if you can receive this message, then chances are that you've been given the ear to hear, right? But let's continue on. It says, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, right? So a king chose a bride, because you have to bring into account the ways of the ancient times, right? Um, a man would buy a woman, and he would either marry her or he would give to his son, right? And so this is a parallel of Yahweh choosing the people Israel as a nation for his son, which is Yahweh Shai. Verse 3. And sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. Okay, so now this is Israel falling away from their heritage, Jeremiah 7 and 14, and choosing to worship other idols as opposed to being invited to the marriage lamp. Verse 4. Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. So again, this was going back, and a good chapter to read to is Romans 11, because this is going back to the Israelites who were still practicing their tradition, uh, right? That had not taken after the customs, right? So he went back to get those that were that were still practicing the heritage, And what is that heritage? The heritage is the laws, you know. Um, but let's continue on. It says, um, verse 5, it says, but they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise, And so we see that nowadays too, when we post up on the highways, we see, you know, the truth is going out, right? And we see people, some people might walk by and it might strike a chord, but they go back to their form. They go back to their merchandise, which is the equivalent of them not wanting to put off this world and them wanting to continue making money. When this city, when this city is destroyed, spoken about in the book of Revelations, many nations are going to cry because a lot of their money, a lot of their business, is going to be fading away in the destruction of Babylon the Great. And that goes into your stock market, right? But I'm going to continue on because I'm about to get to the point here. It says, verse 6, it says, and the remnant took his servant and treated them spitefully and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth and sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. So there was practicing Israelites who knew about Hamashiach, but they didn't tend, they didn't hear, uh, 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 they didn't accept the invitation, right? And we see that, well, first here, but for the context, it's talking about actual practicing Israelites, because you have to remember at this time we had been under the Roman rule, and prior to that we were under the Greek rule, so we had taken after their customs, right? So it was very rare for us to find somebody, just like it's very rare nowadays. It's very rare for someone, for you to find a good wife, for example. It's very rare with so much crap that a woman would stay humble, right? And then when you do come across that, what do they say? Oh man, you're old, or that's an old way of doing things. Well, same was the case here. It was very rare for someone to find an Israelite following after his heritage after being completely destroyed by the other nations. But so that's the context there. But here, and I'm going to get some more scriptures, but bear with me because I'm getting to the media. But we see this nowadays too. We see other Israelite camps that understand that they're Israelites, but they don't eat the whole roll. We have people who don't understand what the mark of the beast is. We have people that think Esau can be saved. All kinds of weird doctrines, right? Um, so, verse 7 says, "But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies." Oh, no, no, I got that already. Verse 8. This 8 and 9, I believe I'll finish at 9. It says, "Then said he to his servants, The wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Those that were still, those that knew that they were Israelites, but they didn't want to accept Yahweh Bashem Yahushai." Verse 9, "Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find bid to the marriage." So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. There's more to it, but the message, this lesson is aimed for the edification of on the Israelite Gentiles. So this is where the Christians will come across and say, "Oh, well, you see, this is where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai abandoned the Israelites and went unto everyone else." Let's get that word bad and good, okay? Bad. Poneros. Ponairos. It says pressed and harassed by laborers. Right here, bad, of bad nature or condition. In a physical sense, diseased or blind, or in an ethical sense, evil, wicked, or bad. So when he was talking about going to find whoever, good or bad, the bad in this context is talking about those that were in a bad state, right? Because Israel, I'm going to say this. Um, this is talking about Israelite foreigners. This is actual bloodline Israelites who were in a bad state and were following after the idols of the heathen nations. That's the bad here. That's why I said in a bad state. And now let's get the word good, because then I'm going to bring up another parallel here, okay? Good, agathos. And that word agathos is of good constitution or good nature. Good, pleasant, agreeable, excellent, upright, honorable. You know, now when I read this, it reminded me of Jeremiah 2 and 21, because this is how Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai calls his people. This is 21. It says, "Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant unto a strange vine?" Right? So Israelites were planted a noble vine, a good vine. And so I pulled up this search on Google. It says, how do you tell a healthy plant from a bad plant? And so, again, as we read through these definitions, keep in mind that the plant here is Israel. So, just like when we read call in the good, call in the bad, it's talking about, the good, those that were in a good condition, which we're going to read, and those that were in a bad condition. But it was talking to the same plant, just in a different condition. So I'll say like this: it was talking about the same Israelites, just in a different condition. So it says a healthy plant typically has vibrant, evenly colored leaves with no signs of wilting, yellowing, browning, or spots, while a bad plant will exhibit symptoms like discolored leaves, dropping stems, leaf drop, visible root issues, or signs of pest and disease. So here you see two different people. You see someone that's good, and then scripture says that you will know a tree by its fruits, right? Well, we can also tell a tree by its characteristics here. And so the good mentioned here in Matthew 22 and 10, blah, 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 Matthew 22, and again, the good, the Agatha were the practicing Israelites that had vibrant leaves, and the bad were the Israelites who weren't practicing the heritage. Let's continue reading. It says, key indicators of a healthy plant. A healthy plant will have a full bushy appearance with many healthy leaves. And we know that part of our tradition is to growing our beards out. Right now, the beard doesn't save you, but it's your heritage. It's what separates you because, even back in Greek days, in Roman days, they were shaving their faces. But uh, I'm not trying to, to so much as a reach, but if you can see this, it's talking about Israelite practicing Israelites, man. Uh, the second one is bright, consistent leaf color. Leaf should be vibrant. Characteristics color for other plant species with no significant discoloration or browning, right? Not being around things that would be unhealthy to the plant. So the good in that in Matthew 20, 22 and 10, the good was those that were staying away from anything unhealthy to them. Firm stems. Stems should be sturdy and upright, not limp or drooping. And I mean, we can see that nowadays too, because you have some people that know that they're Israelites, that they have the foundation right, but they may still have some questions, right? And then when they get in front of the right doctrine, it'll come full circle, right? Everything will be complete. And then the last one, it says a healthy plant will consistently produce new leaves and shoots, and that one can align that with being edified and consistently pushing out uh, messages, right? Because what's the point of knowing that you're an Israelite? First is to practice, our laws and our he- heritage. But the second is, to get the message out so that we can get the elect right? But this is the unhealthy plant. This was the bad mentioned in Matthew 22 and 10. Drooping or limp leaves indicate a plant that is not getting enough water or is overwatered, right? And we know that water is symbolic of the spirit, of the truth, right? And when I read that, it made me think of Isaiah 44. Because, see, before we came into this truth, nowadays we were those bad plants, man. It says, Isaiah 44, 1 through 3 says, yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Again, going back to a specific people, going back to Jeremiah 2, one specific people. Thus saith the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, that made thee, inform thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. And Jeshurun just means upright. Verse 3, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessings upon thine offspring. So you see how beautifully that lines up with us being that bad plant, man. And then more signs of an unhealthy plant. Yellow leaves can signify nutrient deficiency. Because for a while, we didn't know who we were, man. But look, um, I'm not going to go through this and read all of them. I just wanted to get the good plant and a couple of the bad plants. But this lines up perfectly with Matthew 22 and Jeremiah 12 because, again, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai does not change, man. He only dealt with Israel, and he's going to continue dealing with Israel. Okay, and so a lot of Christians, what they'll do is they'll take the New Testament and they'll only pick a certain verse and not want to bring in the context, And I mean, I use this example a lot of times, but people won't do that with the book, you know. They won't open up a Harry Potter book and read the last chapter. They won't even see the second part of the Lord of the Rings movies without watching the first one. But they can understand it there, but when it comes to their salvation, supposed salvation, that's exactly what they do. It's ridiculous. You have to bring in the context, man. And without understanding the context, without understanding that the Israelites went off, without understanding that we had taken after the ways of the heathen, without understanding that at one point we were a part of that, stupidity, man. But now we're coming back into who we are. So look, I'm going to read this again, verse 10, and we're going to be keeping in the back of our minds that Israel is a noble vine, but that we went off, okay? So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good. And the wedding was furnished with guests. Now, again, let's get the word bad. Bad is poneros, and that's full of laborers, annoyances, hardships, pressed and harassed by laborers, bringing toils, annoyances of bad nature or of bad condition. In a physical sense, you're bad, like to be diseased or bland, or in an ethical sense, you're evil or wicked or bad. So bad, bad was those that had taken after the the heathen ways, and then you have good, of constitution, of good constitution, or of good nature, or upright, honorable, which that kind of goes into Jeremiah 12 too, but it's it was always talking about one group of people. It was never talking about the entire population. Okay. Hopefully, this lesson has been edifying, and then with that, I say shalom.